Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Fran and today we will discuss the power of our thoughts and the way thoughts create our reality. Now, let me reassure you, this is not a lesson on positive thinking. Yes, positive thinking can have superficial benefits. It certainly beats negative thinking. We all know that what we think of affects our behavior and that our behavior affects how we interact with the world around us and in turn how the world around us interacts with us. This is no secret. However, when I say that thoughts create reality, I mean this in a literal sense. Thoughts actually manifest physical things around us without us taking any action. Let me rephrase this so that it can truly sink in. Thoughts have the power to affect matter. But stay with me and I will attempt to give you a scientific explanation for my outlandish claim. First of all, let's address the limited power of positive thinking. When people try to put on a positive spin on what they perceive to be a negative experience, often they do so by using a rational or conscious mind. In other words, they fake it. Deep down, though, in their subconscious mind, the feral reptilian brain, they have an ingrained belief that what has happened to them is objectively negative and that they are fooling themselves. Ever heard of the turd covered in glitter metaphor? Pardon my French, but that is exactly my direct experience with positive thinking, which, if you are a hyperlogical, critical thinker, and even it can even backfire by reinforcing the underlying belief this experience is negative and I'm trying to embellish it by rolling it in glitter. So let's banish positive psychology from our dictionary and from our minds once and for all. I don't suggest that you should put a positive spin on an objectively negative experience. And objectively is always in brackets, as experiences are always subjective, but if something causes us to suffer, then it's objectively negative from our limited point of view. Now, let's get to the point. Thoughts are real things. They're not a figment of the imagination. They are real electrical signals exchanged through neural synapses in the brain. You can see their effects through EEG readings. Electrical signals are energy and have a vibration or frequency, like sound and light, for instance. You might argue that you can hear sound and see light, but you cannot see or hear thoughts. However, there are sound frequencies which are inaccessible to the human ear and light frequencies which are inaccessible to the human eye. For example, X-rays, ultraviolet light, sonar, etc. So our five senses are certainly not the best way to judge whether something is real or not. Optical illusions show us all too clearly that objective reality doesn't exist. All that exists is perception, and all perception is mediated by our senses and strongly influenced by the filter of the subconscious mind. But I digress. Thoughts, as we said, are electrical signals which emit a vibration and which can be perceived even at great distances. So when we think negative thoughts, and when I say negative, I repeat, I mean that not in a moralistic sense, but in a sense of thoughts which cause us to suffer if we choose to believe them. Anything that makes us suffer is by definition negative. When we think these thoughts, we emit a low vibration, which attracts like or similar vibrations. And as we know from Einstein's theory of relativity, matter is nothing but energy which vibrates at a lower frequency. As Einstein proved in the photoelectric effect, high-frequency photons can displace an electron from a metal bar. In other words, light can physically affect the structure of matter. Now let that sink in. If thoughts are electrical signals, And light is an electromagnetic field. Is it possible that the frequency of our thoughts can actually affect the nature of matter? You see, our common sense and also classical physics tell us that what happens to us, our circumstances, affects what we think and how we feel. And that is certainly true. What our common sense or limited belief system and classical physics don't tell us is that causation also runs in the opposite direction. Thoughts actually create our reality. Quantum physics suggests that our 3D reality is an illusion, a hologram, if you will, and that the only real thing is consciousness. How we perceive and interpret things in our life affects what we draw in through our vibration. So you might ask, if negative thoughts attract negative events in our lives, and if positive thinking is not a solution, then what are we meant to do to turn our fate around? The answer is simple in theory and a bit more complicated in practice, but only because it's counterintuitive and unfamiliar. The answer is we do not focus on what we perceive as negative. We do not feed that fire with oxygen. We do not breathe air into that flame. We starve the fire by ignoring it. And like you do with a fire, you remove either the fuel or the oxygen and it dies out on its own. You don't need to pour water on it. Stop feeding it and it will die a natural death. Now, you might argue that when you are in pain because of a negative experience, it may be downright impossible to ignore it. I agree. But you have to remind yourself that where attention goes, energy flows. If your thoughts create your circumstances, then you have to think of what you want to create in your future. Imagine your ideal future and stay with it. Stay with that image, or better yet, that feeling for a few seconds. It's all it takes. And remember, reality is a mirror of our internal imaginal world, held in our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is like a projector, and our 3D reality is the blank screen on which the projector is screening the film. We want to change our reality and our circumstances by changing the screen. It's like wanting to change the image of the mirror or in the mirror without changing the thing reflected. What shows up in your life today are your past thoughts, most of them unconscious, running on automatic pilot. Now, if you want to take charge of your life, you need to stop giving attention to the things you dislike, however hard it may seem. When a negative thought comes up, start by noticing it and shut it down. Distract yourself, do something physical, or simply shout, "Stop." Now, if this still doesn't work or even sounds silly, and it probably will, just remember this: your reality isn't real. It's but a hologram of your internal world. You can create any reality you want with the power of your mind. So stop feeding the fire with fuel. Stop breathing oxygen into it. Starve the flame of negative thoughts. If you have to, just repeat to yourself, "It's okay, everything is always working out for me," like a soothing mantra. I know it sounds silly, childish, and even downright naive and irresponsible to state the opposite of what you observe. Yet I promise you, you will see outstanding results. Serendipitous events will happen that will make you question your entire belief system. It happened to me. And your life will start to resemble a dream of sorts, but you will be a lucid dreamer. You'll be in charge of your dream. So this is it. But do not take my words at face value. Do not believe in anything anyone says, including me. Try it yourself. Become your own scientist. That is all I ask of you. And please don't forget to share your success stories in the comments below so as to inspire others. And if you enjoyed this video, then you might want to hit the subscribe button so you will be notified of any future videos I release. And if you wish, like it so more people can access this content and transform their lives beyond recognition. Or don't. Either way, I wish you a wonderful awakened day. And thank you for watching.